So Army of Two is a co-op game that was developed for two characters from the ground up. So everything from navigating the world space to every game mechanic to shooting to upgrading your weapons, everything was developed for two characters to do it at the same time, be it two players or a player and a partner AI. So that alone is different from every other game out there, because every other game takes it where here's a single player experience, now we're going to slap on a second player and call it co-op, though you don't need to really cooperate. One player can actually run through the map or go ahead and do everything, whereas with Army of Two, you're really connected. They really have to cooperate, they really have to communicate in order to complete every challenge in the map. So the agrometer and the agro system is something that we've adopted from the MMO space. And what that is, it's manipulating the AI. So what you do is, as you start firing, you're gonna glow bright red, and all the attention of the enemy is going to focus on you. Your partner is going to sort of phase out and go to half transparency, and all these are indicators to let you know where the attention of the AI lies. But your partner then, who is semi-transparent, can flank around the enemy and take them out from behind or complete objectives. We also have special enemies, guys that are armored from the front, where one character is going to have to take all the attention from them, the other character is going to have to flank around behind them, take them out from behind. Also, the weapon customization plays into how you build and reduce the aggro. So again, that's more cooperative in the fact that you need to talk to your partner and be like, hey, what are you bringing to the level? What am I bringing into the level? And where does that go? As far as the kill counter goes, that's, well, soon to be one of the two ways we bring sort of a battle between the characters together rather than just being fully cooperative. So you can just see who has more kills, who has less kills. We actually track all that data and use that for player tracking later on when we do like custom matches when you join. We actually know how many kills you have, what weapons you use, how often you shoot, what's your play style. And we match up players that way later on. So we have long missions, right? And the problem is we have these cool weapon customization and weapon purchasing. We felt that we would really be shafting the player if we just said you can only buy guns in between missions. And the thing is since it's a persistent inventory, anytime you hit a mid-mission shopping point, which is usually at almost every checkpoint, you can buy new weapons, upgrade your existing inventory, or use as a bank where you put one gun in and take out a gun that's pertinent to that situation. So really tailor your play for the moment, and also for your partner. Like if all of a sudden, because of our dynamic drop in, drop out, say you were playing with one friend who had to leave, you invited another friend, you hit a checkpoint, he joins your game and your game continues, it doesn't end. But all of a sudden you know that he's a runner and gunner that has heavy machine guns. Well, you may swap to like a G36, throw a suppressor on it, so at least you both can still fire at the same time, even though he's going to build more aggro in that instance. With our two main characters, we have Salem and Rios, and the deal is each of them is sort of, their backgrounds are different. So Salem sort of had a rough upbringing. He spent some time in the criminal justice system, worked his way into the military to cut time, and then he ends up in the middle of our storyline. So he's a, he's a wise guy. He's always going off, and he definitely has more street cred. Whereas we have Rios, who has a full military background, right? Full regalia coming up, and he's more organized and ordered. So when they go back and forth and kind of do the banter and talk in the levels, they have that different approach. And what you see as we go through is we sort of have them talking one another to inject humor and comedy, as well as like current day references to let you know the time setting all over this like underlying grim storyline about privatized military companies and stuff like that. So, well, from what we've shown so far, if I was to go back and look at all the different levels that we've had in the game showing at different shows, like the original E3, the first time we showed Army of Two to the public, we showed the aircraft carrier, which still exists. You still have to sink a carrier. We also have shown many maps in Afghanistan. We've shown Iraq. We've shown China. We've also shown Miami, a flooded Miami that's been pretty much decimated by a hurricane, in which you have to use the hovercrafts to make your way towards your goal. So it's not just these desert environments, and it's not just natural environments. We also have, very industrial environments, a lot of metal, a lot of glass, as well as plants, in the jungle settings or forest settings like in China. So you really traverse the globe, and what you're doing is very specific to the area you're in. We have many different co-op mechanics in the game. Some are based around combat, but others are based around staying alive. An example of that is like the CPR and the healing techniques. So both players are in essence responsible for player death. If one player gets cut up and goes down, his partner needs to rescue him. He needs to do the tampon healing. And he has to get to him within a certain time limit and then apply this. They both play this mini game where both players are responsible for failure. And you can play this as many times as you can within the time limit, but it also gives you a reason to stay near your partner and not run miles away from him, because you're never going to make it to him in time within that time limit. Same goes for the CPR as well. But besides the mechanics, we also inject some of this into level style puzzles, as you mentioned. Like in the locks in China, your goal is one player has to go up and open the locked door, the other player has to move a hovercraft into the lock, the other player then has to raise the water level. Then they have to fight their way across this giant bridge and then open the lock again, go back down to the hovercraft and take off. So you can play this any number of ways. One player can totally be the aggro and just totally take it all to him and really have all the enemy focus on one of the other players stealths and does the objectives. You can both fight and take the guys down. There's like hundreds of ways you can approach this stuff. I mean, it's really how you play, what you're equipped with, and who your friend is. We found that when you got up close with an enemy, if you were just shooting them point blank, it wasn't as gratifying. So if you pull the trigger and you're point blank on an enemy, you'll do a melee attack, and it's all directional based and sort of randomized. So if you approach someone from the front, you may smash him with a headbutt. If you approach him from the back, you may take his knee out, drop him on the ground, and then step on his head and like break his neck. Also, depending on what your aggro level is at, the more aggro you have, the more aggressive that animation is. Especially if you take aggro to the overkill mode. When you're in overkill, your melee attacks are super enhanced. Especially the stealth guy is going to go up and break everyone's neck from behind. The big thing with Army of Two is it's an experience for you to share with one of your friends. You get online, if you really like shooters and you really like shooting them up, you like getting all these cool customized weapons, you really like building your character if you're into that RPG sense of it. You also really like manipulating like the AI and really playing a deep game. We offer that all to you in one neat package where it's easy connections and it's easy for you to get in with a friend. And we don't penalize you with our dynamic jump in and jump out. Your friend leaves, you keep playing and you keep going through so you never lose your game. We're always kind of catering to you so you enjoy the experience, and we want you to communicate and be cooperative. That's the goal. Army of Two will be out on November 13th for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3.